Welcome back to the Pantry Challenge. We are in week 3 of February challenge, day 1. And for breakfast, late breakfast, we had the cottage pie cake with a latte for breakfast. And it is lunchtime now. I am just making some naan bread and we're going to have this with, we're gonna finish off the soup, the curried roasted butternut squash soup for lunch today. So this is our butternut squash soup and we're finishing off the apple juice as well from the freezer. As you can see, I've got seeds everywhere. Today actually I'm gonna go and sow the peppers and chilies. That's gonna be another vlog. We have butchered the goat today and I still got a few in the freezer, so I took one out. It's a leg. So we're gonna use this up for the upcoming week. And I've just got out another 2-liter bottle of our homegrown homemade apple juice as well, friends. What I am doing today, I'm actually just bagging up the goat organs in these plastic bags. So we're gonna make dog food. This will last for quite a few months for the dogs. I would like to weigh this liver. I'm curious what it weighs. 712 grams, the liver. Heart, 239 grams. The lung, 433 grams. So what I'm gonna do now, I was just curious about this. I'm gonna start cutting and I'm gonna I've got 4 bags in here and every single bag is gonna have all different organ meat in it. So when I'm ready to cook for the dogs and portion up, they not just gonna have, let's say, liver, but they're gonna have a bit of liver, bit of heart, you know, so on. So that's the plan. So let's say that's 1, 2 and 3. So 4 portions. And do the same with the heart. So I'm just gonna cut it up for 4 sort of equal pieces. Okay. So I can bag these up and I'm gonna cook up this one today. I just cut this up bite-sized pieces for my small dogs. I've already got the bags ready and wrote on them the date and what's in it. We are finishing off some leftovers and I have used a gooseberry compote with that lunch. It was divine. We picked that last year from the old house. I have bought some more raspberry for this house, but we haven't even put them in the ground. We need to find the space and then, you know, do it together. I am now just busy making breakfast. Our chicken started laying, so super excited. We've got eggs again, fresh eggs. So probably that's what we're going to have a lot for breakfast the upcoming weeks. And I'm using still up this goat's cheese. I put this in the freezer last year and you know, for my surprise, cheese freezes really well. So the fried egg is ready. We're going to enjoy the breakfast and we're going to cook the goat next, friends. It is 16th of February and we are going to slow cook this leg of goat. I'm literally going to have a few ingredients and we're going to put this in the oven and leave it there for quite a few hours while I'm going out. I'm going back to the old house. Let's see if there is anything from the garden we can harvest. So make sure I remember to take a basket. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to give a generous olive oil coating on this lamb. Garlic powder. Oregano. Rosemary. Mint. I'm going to put a little bit of lime juice. Salt and pepper. And I took out some turkey broth because that's the only broth we have. And it's still defrosting. I think I'm just gonna put this in here anyway. So give this a very good coating. Put the lid back on it and just put it to. It's a massive piece of meat. Just about fitting in here. Make sure it's coated with oil real well everywhere. Just push it down. I'm just gonna grab that frozen broth. Literally just put it in there, that will melt. We are making two bread loaves, one yeasted sandwich bread and one sourdough. So for the yeasted sandwich bread, I'm going to, the recipe asks for 2 tablespoons of warm water, 1, just grab a little bit more, 2, so to this says add dissolved sugar and in warm water, 2 cups warm water, 1/4 cup of sugar, dissolved water and sugar, and asks for 1.5 tablespoons of yeast. Dissolve sugar in water, add yeast and let proof. And then it asks for 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, and then we're going to add that in our water, sugar and yeast mixture after this proofs. So we're going to do that in a minute, about 20 minutes. And then we need 1.5 teaspoons of salt and 5.5 cups of flour. Recipe says all-purpose, but we're going to use bread flour. Add the dry mixture to wet mixture. Mix flour and salt in a separate bowl. I'm ready to add the yeast. I actually haven't got 1.5 tablespoons, friends, but that's what we have. Good mix, let it proof. So just measured out 5.5 cups of bread flour. I sifted to this bowl, the mixing bowl. It is actually about 600 grams. And I added 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Our lamb is ready. So let's have a look. I'm gonna put this back for another 20 minutes. yeast is proofing nicely. Make sure to put the alarm on. Till 5 o'clock. Okay, and now we're gonna measure out the ingredients for the sourdough bread. So 500 grams of bread flour. First, actually, I'm gonna put in here 350 grams of warm water. 358, that'll do. And to this we're going to sift 500 grams of bread flour. Actually, I can zero it out first. Just over 500 grams. And give this a good mix first. Dough attachmento. I've managed to harvest all these lovely leaf, kale and greens. Look, in February. I am well chopped, friends. Also, we've got Brussels sprouts, and look at the size of this kohlrabi. So I'm just washing it now, take this off. And I'm gonna put them in a zippy bag and to the fridge while we don't need it. Today with the roast leg of goat, we're gonna have chips and sauerkraut. You can eat these greens, it's lovely. Okay, our yeast is nicely proofed, so we are ready to add bit by bit the flour, and then we're gonna give it a good mix. The oil and the sourdough starter to this other one. So I've just covered the yeasted bread with shower cup. We're gonna wait until it double in size. And the sourdough, I've just washed my hands, now I'm gonna put some oil. And then we're gonna remove this dough from the attachment. I'm just gonna, with my oily hands, just gonna a little bit work it off this bowl. And now I covered this speck up as well with shower cap and I leave it to it as well. Let me show you the goat. This been slow cooking for about 6-7 hours, and I put it in a roaster oven in the last hour. And look at this. Looking amazing. Can you see it? That is now done. Wow. It falls, literally falls off the bone. Look. Wow. And it's lovely gravy. What I'm gonna do, actually, we can ladle out a little bit. And I'm gonna make a nice thicker gravy with it. I'm going to take some liquid out. I'm just going to thicken this up with a little bit of bread flour. Probably best idea to switch to whisk at this point. It's nicely thickened up. Just gonna have a taste test. That is delicious. That is divine. Just gonna cover this back up. And you're going to have chips with this. Can't believe how well our homegrown potatoes still looking. I think I cut my hand a little bit on that other knife. It's really sharp. I'm just gonna put this in an active fry. It's 5:30, so we're ready for 6. I'm ready to do the first stretch and fold on the sourdough bread. I'm gonna do this 2 more times. Wait half an hour, do it again, another half an hour, and do it again before we're going to shape the dough. Let's see how the yeast one's doing. Looking good. Leave it a bit longer. I'm gonna use sauerkraut and I'm gonna make like a coleslaw. I've harvested some carrot in the old house today and I left it there in a polytunnel by mistake, so we only got the last bit of the cabbage and the kohlrabi, so I'm gonna just do it with mayonnaise. Be fine. Hello my Lucy Daisy. Just cutting up our last cabbage from last year's garden, so I'm making as like a coleslaw with the kohlrabi and homemade mayonnaise, and that's gonna be a companion side dish for our roast goat dinner with chips tonight. And let me tell you, everything turned out delicious and we really enjoyed that dinner. And because of the huge leg of that goat, we had this dinner for quite a few days coming up. So the first day we had it with chips and next day with rice. Dinner is ready. I'm just dishing up now. So our roast dinner, it's done. I am ready to shape the bread dough. I'm going to put this in a bread pan, leave it to rise for about an hour before we're going to bake that in 35 minutes in the oven. I'm gonna wait again while this double in size before we're going to bake this. Ready to do the next stretch and fold on our sourdough bread. I'm just going to move this closer to the auger where it's warmer. That's it. Perfect. And we need to do it one more time in half an hour. It is the next day, but I'm going to wrap it up in this vlog. Just wanted to show you the bread. I was a bit impatient, so one bread turned out not quite I was expecting, but the one turned out really well. So this is our sandwich bread for the week, the yeasted one. A sourdough, I should have done this morning, but was impatient and it didn't really rise, but I'm sure we can still find a way to eat this as well. I baked both last night because today in a minute we're out to the hospital and I don't know how long we're gonna be there. With Alan's arm, we're gonna have MRI today and we'll see how it goes. It's busy. So that's why I wanted to just bake both last night. So
I know I should have waited and put this overnight to the fridge because the dough did look good, but I rushed it because for a reason. Well, thank you so much for spending time with me in this pantry challenge on this couple of days. And I'm gonna continue from today the next one. But for now, bye friends!